What up, though, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Chopping It Up with Uncle Chon True-Stories. I'm Uncle Chon. Today, I got a very funny story to me. It's very funny to me. Uh, it's set in Birmingham, Alabama. And if I'm not mistaken, the year is 1992 or 91 or 92. Can't remember the exact year. But I have an auntie who's from New York, and she had a house built in Birmingham, Alabama. It's a nice house in a bad neighborhood. And at this particular time, a lot of uh, my family members who had migrated north was starting to migrate south again. So my aunt was my grandmother's youngest sister, and one of my grandmother's brothers had moved to Decatur, Alabama, and then my grandmother's youngest brother, who had gotten sick, he moved from Chicago to Birmingham, Alabama, and so my aunt's house, when she would be in town, would kind of be the meeting place or whatever. So this particular time when she came down, she brought two of her sons. One is named Baron, the other is named Jonathan. Okay, now these guys are my cousins. I love them, but they are the quintessential baby boys, mama's boys, whatever you want to call them. It's like, you know, grown ass men who act like children, uh, especially when it comes to their mom. Okay, so uh, ain't no, I'm not gonna say my aunt's name. I ain't gonna put her in this, but my aunt and her boyfriend named Paul, and these two cousins of mine, Baron and Jonathan, drove down from, I think at the time she was staying in New Jersey. They drove down from New Jersey. They rented a car. And Paul was half Dominican and half black. Now, my cousin Baron, because I'm from Detroit, I don't know nothing about no Dominicans or nothing like that. We got black, white, and a few maybe Mexicans and some Arabs. We got a lot of Arabs in Michigan. So uh, I don't know anything about Dominicans, but he hated Dominicans, hated them. Oh, every time he'd always be like, "Oh, them Dominicans, blah blah blah." I don't know what he didn't like about them. I think I know now, but you know, because a lot of the Dominicans, even though they darker than me, they say they're not black. So, we should all have a problem with that. But anyway, Paul, as far as I knew, he was a good guy. I met him several times and never had no problem out of him. He was always pleasant, nice, good conversations with him. Smart dude. But Baron and Jonathan did not like this guy. Partially probably because, they like to have kind of control over their mother. They kind of want her to cater to what, what they want to do. So this particular incident started about the rental car. Okay. So, as soon as they touch down in Alabama good, they start harassing their mother about using the rental car. Now, I had a car. Okay. Now, of course, the rental car was a newer car than what I had, but if they needed to get around, it wasn't like they were stranded or anything like that. I had a car and it was in good working order and everything. And, we could have easily used my car. Well, like I said, my uncle, I had an uncle that stayed in Decatur, and I had a cousin of mine named Vic. Not my friend Vic, my cousin Vic. I got a story about my cousin Vic too. A couple stories I'm gonna tell later on. But they we all wanted to go to Decatur and kick it with Vic. Okay. And so they wanted to use the rental car. And if I'm not mistaken, maybe Barron may have had a job at the time, and he might have put in a couple dollars on the car. Some kind of way, these two felt entitled to using the car. I don't know if they put in a couple dollars on it or what their claim to wanting to use this car was. Well, Paul, I guess these three had been beefing for quite some time. I don't know what the beef originally started from, but like I say, I believe it was because they wanted to control whatever. So they start, mom, with the New York accents, can get the keys. We gotta go down to, the Decatur, and she's like, well, so Paul, he kind of gets sick. Like, he was a veteran, so he would get sick from time to time, and he would have to go to the VA. He would go to the VA, and this had happened a couple times while they were staying there, where he would come up. I don't know what his ailment was. I mean, he was in the military. It could have been anything. I don't know. I didn't ever ask. He would get sick, and they would go to the VA and come back or whatever. So this particular night, me and Paul were sitting in the living room talking. Like I say, he was a cool dude to me. So he was, I did I like to cook. So I had cooked dinner maybe 2 or 3 nights while we were there. And Paul was like, I'm gonna cook a Dominican dish tonight. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, cool, So we went to the store and he got everything he needed. I'm not even sure what the dish was called. All I know was my brother went in the kitchen and started doing his thing, and it was smelling good. So Barron and Jonathan, they won't even come in the house all day. It's hot as hell in Alabama. We got air conditioning in the house, but they sitting outside drinking and plotting. Okay, now I didn't know any of this was going on. I go outside and I'm like, Paul is in there cooking, and he's cooking some Dominican shit, and it's smelling good. I ain't eating that shit. I ain't eating that damn Dominican shit. He could, no, I don't want that. This is how both of them are. They both got this stank attitude about him fixing this food. They're not gonna eat, I'm like, man, that shit smelling good, man. I can't wait to eat it. I'm eating it when he come off, when he done. You ain't eating that damn Dominican, those damn Dominicans, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, all right, man. So I go in the house and I'm kicking it with Auntie and Paul, and the dinner gets ready. I go outside like, yo, dinner ready. Y'all come on in. I ain't eating that damn shit. They end up going to Church's Chicken and getting some chicken and sitting on the porch eating the chicken out in the hot. Okay, that's on them. I go in the house, fix me a plate. Me, Paul, and Auntie sit there. We laughing, talking. We eating. The food is good as hell. Like I said, it was some meat and potato. It was like some stew, and it was good as hell. Okay, so after we finish eating, somebody washed the dishes. We cleaned up the kitchen, cleaned up the mess. We go in the living room and we sitting there watching a movie. Now, these two jokers have been outside literally plotting all day. So when they come in and they, mommy, can we get the car keys? We want to go to Decatur to go see Uncle and Vic. And she's like, okay, whatever. So when she does that, Paul comes up sick. He's like, oh, I'm not feeling good. I might have to go to the hospital. So now she's like, okay, well, you guys can use Sean's car and just go. We don't want to use Sean's car. We want to take the car, I'm like, man, we can just drive my car. And I think we had went down there like a couple days early and we drove my car. They want to drive the rental car. Okay. Now, I don't know about Barron, but Jonathan, I'm pretty sure he didn't have no damn license. Cause the way he drove, if he did, he couldn't have kept it long. Cause this dude, I let him drive my car, and I swear, the minute he got up under the wheel, the first thing he did when he put the car in drive was all the way down to the floor. Take off. That's how he drive. He's reckless. Okay. Now, I don't remember Barron driving like that, but I know how. But Jonathan always wants to drive too. He insists on driving. So, Paul's not feeling well, so she's like, nah, y'all hold off on using the car. I might have to take him to the VA, blah, blah, blah. So they boiling mad. I mean, they steaming. Steam coming out their ears. They mad. So they go back outside, and they out there. Now they plotting for real, okay? Now, let me tell you something. Paul ain't no damn idiot. Plus, he know these two guys, okay? So he is playing chess, and they playing checkers. That's the name of this video, too. They was playing chess. Checkers. He was playing chess. So as I'm sitting there talking to him, he's just sitting there, and he's telling me he's not feeling well or whatever. And I'm like, okay. So I go outside to go tell these guys, look, let's go to Decatur. We can just drive my car again, whatever. So when I walk out the door, okay, I open up the wood door, I open up the screen door, and I'm walking out onto the porch, and this fool, Barron, is standing next to the door with a 2x4. And when I come out, he goes like he's gonna hit me, and I'm like, what the, he's like, oh, it ain't you. So I'm like, man, what you do? So I closed the door, right? And I'm like, man, what the hell wrong with you, man? We waiting on Paul to come out here. We're gonna fuck him up. We're gonna fuck him up. So I'm like, man, y'all better leave that man alone. I was like, man, sick or whatever. What's wrong with y'all? So he's like, hey, he likes you. You call him, tell him come outside. I said, man, hell no. So I go back in the house. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, just sitting in the chair, and I'm shaking my head, because I'm like, damn. So I look over at Paul, and Paul's sitting in the chair that he'd been sitting in, but I look on the side of Paul. Paul got that goddammit. He got that goddammit. Sitting right next to him. 38 revolver. Okay? I'm looking at it. I'm seeing it. He ain't trying to show it to me, but I peeped it. And he just sitting there. He ain't said nothing, and me and him just talking regular. So after about a half hour, I get up and I go outside, and the same thing happened. I almost get hit over the head with a 2x4. And I'm like, man, look. I'm like, y'all crazy. I'm like, y'all out here plotting to hit this man with a 2x4. I said, let me let you in on something. He ain't got no 2x4. I'm like, if that man, I'm like, look, he got that thing on him. You know what I'm saying? He got that thing on him, y'all. And if you come out there, if you come outside and y'all do this, somebody ain't gonna make it. Somebody ain't gonna make it. This man ain't playing. Y'all grown as hell. What the hell wrong with y'all? Oh, fuck him, man. We gotta fuck him. And then I'm like, okay. So I go back in the house. And then Paul lets me know that he knows what they doing out there. And he ain't having it. And I'm just laughing to myself. So the night goes on, and it starts getting later and later and later. So Paul gets up, grabs that thing with him, goes into the bedroom, and he's turning in for the night or whatever. And so Auntie comes out, and she tells me, if you want to drive the car, you can drive the car, but nobody else can drive the car. So if you want to drive the rental car and go to Decatur, you can drive the car. Okay? So You know, she gave me the keys. I go outside, and this time when I go outside, they not standing next to the door waiting to ambush. They standing like down on the walkway, like, you know. And when I come out, these fools had the nerve to ask me for something to do, one of them things. You know, we know you got what you get. You know, I'm like, is you stupid? I'm not finna give you. Get out of here. I was like, Auntie gave me the keys. You know, so let's go. So it's like, you know, it's like 10 o'clock at night, maybe 11 o'clock. It's late, but we going to Decatur to kick it with my cousin Vic. And I'm gonna stop the story right there because when we get to Decatur, some other things happen. But this story was called, he was playing chess and they were playing checkers because Paul was ready. He was ready for them. Yeah. He was ready. That's the story, y'all. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, share, subscribe. And if you didn't, like, share, subscribe. It's Uncle Chon signing out. Peace.